His future with the team is in question. NFL Spin Zone didn't speculate, they didn't hedge, they stated it as fact in their 2026 mock draft released Thursday morning. Jerry Judy, the 29-year-old receiver who caught just 47.2% of his targets in 2025, who cost Cleveland a third-round pick and a $52.5 million contract extension, is no longer safe. Not speculation, not rumor, fact. And when Todd Monken held his first press conference as Browns head coach Wednesday afternoon and was asked directly about the wide receiver position, he didn't commit to anyone. Not Judy, not Harold Fannin Jr., not anyone. Instead, sources close to the situation tell Yahoo Sports that Monken wants a complete refresh of Cleveland's receiver room. Complete, as in blow it all up, as in everyone is replaceable. And now, trade rumors are erupting across the league. ESPN's Bill Barnwell listed Jerry Judy as one of 8 Browns players who should and very well might be available before the trade deadline. FanSided reported the teams are circling, watching to see if Cleveland will cut bait on the disastrous trade. And Todd Monken? He's staying completely silent. Not defending Judy, not promising him a role, just silence. The kind of silence that means the divorce paperwork is already being drafted. And the NFL world is watching this drama explode because Jerry Judy might not make it to training camp as a Cleveland Brown. Hit that subscribe button right now because this story is about to expose the most brutal receiver situation in the NFL. This isn't just about Jerry Judy underperforming. This is about Todd Monken refusing to commit, trade rumors erupting from multiple sources, and whether Cleveland cuts or trades their disaster acquisition before June 1st. Let's start with the trade rumors that are setting the NFL world on fire. Bill Barnwell of ESPN wrote an entire article about Browns players who should be available before the trade deadline, and Jerry Judy was near the top of the list. Anyone else should and very well might be available for the Browns, who are realistically thinking about 2026 and 2027, Barnwell wrote. He specifically named Judy alongside Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Teller, Ethan Posick, David Njoku, Jerome Ford, and Shelby Harris as players Cleveland could move to rebuild for the future. Think about that. Jerry Judy, the receiver they traded for and extended just 18 months ago, is now being openly discussed as a trade candidate, not by random bloggers, by ESPN's senior NFL writer. That's not a hot take, that's reporting based on league sources who believe Cleveland is ready to move on. And Barnwell isn't alone. FanSided published an article titled 5 Former Todd Monken Players the Browns Head Coach Can Bring to Cleveland, and in the very first paragraph they wrote this. In case you didn't know, the Browns are in dire need of wide receiver help. The Jerry Judy edition has been a disaster almost entirely, though there were some flashes of false hope over the years. A disaster. Those aren't my words, those are theirs. A media outlet calling Jerry Judy's time in Cleveland a disaster, while simultaneously suggesting Todd Monken is already planning his replacement. NFL Spin Zone went even further. In their mock draft analysis, they wrote, and he would provide a much-needed jolt to a Browns receiver room which was horrendous this past season. The leader in targets was Jerry Judy, who had such a disappointing year, catching just 47.2% of his targets, that his future with the team is in question. Future in question, not might be, not could be, is. Present tense, as in right now, today, Jerry Judy's future with the Browns is uncertain. And this is coming from draft analysts who have inside sources within organizations. They're not guessing, they're reporting what they're hearing from the Cleveland front office. And what they're hearing is that Jerry Judy is not part of the long-term plan. But here's where it gets even more damning. Todd Monken has been completely silent about Jerry Judy. Not a single word of support, not a vote of confidence, not a "we're excited to work with him," nothing. When Monken held his introductory press conference, he was asked about the quarterback situation, about the offensive line, about the overall offensive philosophy. But when it came to wide receivers, he gave generic answers about evaluating the roster and building a championship team. No specific names, no commitments. And according to Yahoo Sports' 2026 offseason preview, that silence is intentional. Cleveland still needs a quarterback and a complete refresh of the wide receiver room, they wrote. Complete refresh. That's not keeping Jerry Judy and adding a few pieces. That's starting from scratch. And Monken's silence is the loudest statement he could possibly make.
Compare that to how Monken talked about other positions. When asked about the offensive line, Monken said Cleveland needs to invest heavily. When asked about tight ends, he praised Harold Fannin Jr. as a building block. When asked about running backs, he mentioned Quinshon Judkins as exciting. But Jerry Judy? Silence. And in the NFL, silence is a death sentence. Because if a coach won't publicly commit to you, he's privately planning to replace you. And Todd Monken is making it crystal clear without saying a word that Jerry Judy is not part of his vision. The contract makes trading Judy complicated, but not impossible. He's owed $17.5 million in 2026, $15 million in 2027, and $16 million in 2028. That's $48.5 million over 3 years. Cutting him before June 1st creates a $29 million dead cap hit, which is brutal. But cutting him after June 1st splits the dead money, making it $16 million in 2026 and $13 million in 2027. Still painful, but manageable. And Cleveland could also trade him. The question is, what's his value? After catching 47.2% of his targets, posting 1.41 yards per route run, and being publicly called a disaster by multiple media outlets, Jerry Judy's trade value is in the toilet. Maybe a desperate team gives up a 6th or 7th round pick. Maybe they take on half the salary. But Cleveland is not getting anything close to the 3rd round pick they gave up to acquire him. And that's exactly why trade rumors are erupting, because teams are circling like vultures, waiting for Cleveland to cut bait. The Washington Commanders need receivers. The Arizona Cardinals need weapons. The New England Patriots are rebuilding and looking for veteran additions. All of them are watching Jerry Judy's situation and wondering if they can pry him away for pennies on the dollar. A 6th round pick and split his salary? Done. A conditional 7th that becomes a 6th if he hits incentives? Easy. Cleveland would be foolish not to take that deal, because keeping Judy means paying him $17.5 million to be a 3rd or 4th receiver behind the rookies Todd Monken is about to draft, and that's organizational malpractice. Multiple mock drafts have the Browns drafting wide receivers early and often. A to Z Sports has them taking USC's Makai Lemon at pick 6. NFL Spin Zone has them taking Texas A&M's Kevin Concepcion in the 1st round. The Athletic has them doubling up on receivers by taking Washington's Denzel Boston and Indiana's Elijah Sarratt in the 2nd round. Every single mock draft is projecting Cleveland to invest significant draft capital into the receiver position, and every single one mentions Jerry Judy's disappointing season as the reason why. That's not a coincidence. That's draft analysts hearing from NFL sources that Cleveland is moving on from Judy and building around young talent. FanSided even suggested Todd Monken could bring in George Pickens, his former player at Georgia, to replace Judy. In case you didn't know, the Browns are in dire need of wide receiver help. The Jerry Judy edition has been a disaster almost entirely, they wrote before pitching Pickens as the solution. Pickens is a free agent after a tumultuous season with the Dallas Cowboys. He's talented but mercurial, and Monken coached him at Georgia, where he had a good grasp on how to rein him in. If Cleveland can sign Pickens and draft 2 or 3 receivers in the draft, Jerry Judy becomes completely expendable. He's the odd man out, and his only hope is finding a trade partner before the Browns just cut him outright. Bill Barnwell's ESPN article specifically listed Jerry Judy as tradable because the Browns are realistically thinking about 2026 and 2027. That's the key phrase. Cleveland is not trying to win in 2026. They're rebuilding. They're thinking long-term. And Jerry Judy, who is 29 years old, expensive, and coming off the worst catch rate in football, does not fit that timeline. The Browns would rather take the cap hit, move on, and build around 22-year-old rookies who will be entering their prime when Cleveland is actually competitive. That makes sense. It's smart team building. But it also means Jerry Judy's time in Cleveland is over, and the trade rumors reflect that reality.
Yahoo Sports off-season preview was brutal in its assessment.
Wide receiver has been a bugaboo position for Andrew Berry in his GM tenure with the Browns. There have been a ton of draft misses betting on speed, while the trade plus extension for Jerry Judy has led to an underwhelming 1.41 yards per route run in his time with the Browns. Bugaboo, draft misses, underwhelming. These aren't words you use when describing a player you plan to keep. These are words you use when admitting a mistake. And Andrew Berry, who kept his job when Kevin Stefanski got fired, is quietly admitting that the Jerry Judy trade was a disaster. He won't say it publicly, but the fact that every mock draft has Cleveland drafting multiple receivers tells you everything. Berry is trying to fix the mistake by flooding the position with young talent and hoping one of them hits. Todd Monken's silence is the loudest part of this entire story. When a head coach takes over a new team, one of the first things they do is publicly support their key players, build relationships, create buy-in. But Monken hasn't done that with Jerry Judy. Not a single quote, not a single mention, just silence. And in the NFL, silence is deafening because it tells players, agents, and the entire league that you don't view that player as essential. And if Jerry Judy isn't essential to Todd Monken's offense, why is he on the roster? The dramatic shift in tone around Judy is stunning. 18 months ago, Andrew Berry traded for him and immediately extended him. The Browns believed they were getting a #1 receiver who could be a cornerstone for years. Berry called him exciting. Kevin Stefanski said he fit the offense perfectly. Fans were optimistic. And now, complete silence from the new regime. Trade rumors from ESPN. Mock drafts replacing him with rookies. Media outlets calling the acquisition a disaster. That's how fast things change in the NFL. One bad season and you go from franchise building block to trade candidate. And Jerry Judy's 47.2% catch rate was bad enough to trigger that shift overnight. The timing of the trade rumors is also significant. Bill Barnwell's article was published in late October 2025, before the trade deadline. That means teams were already circulating Jerry Judy's name as potentially available. Cleveland didn't trade him then, but the fact that his name was even in those conversations tells you everything. Teams don't discuss trading players they plan to keep. They discuss trading players they're ready to move on from. And Cleveland was ready to move on from Jerry Judy 4 months ago. They just couldn't find a trade partner willing to take on his contract. Now, with Todd Monken in place and the draft approaching, they'll try again. And if they can't find a trade partner, they'll cut him after June 1st and eat the dead cap hit. The Browns' offensive philosophy under Todd Monken makes Jerry Judy even more expendable. Monken's offense in Baltimore was built around running the football and using play action to attack vertically. The Ravens ranked second in rushing yards per game and 11th in points per game over Monken's 3 seasons. Wide receivers in that system need to block, run precise routes, and make contested catches. Jerry Judy caught 47.2% of his targets. He's not a good blocker, and he's not physical. That's not Monken's type of receiver. Monken wants guys like Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman who catch 70% plus of their targets and make tough plays in traffic. Jerry Judy is the opposite of that, and that's why Monken is staying silent, because he knows Judy doesn't fit his system, and rather than publicly criticize him, Monken is just planning to replace him. The drama is erupting across social media too. Browns fans are divided. Some want Judy gone immediately. Cut him, trade him, I don't care, just get him off this roster, one fan tweeted. Others think he deserves another chance. Give him a real quarterback and see what happens, someone argued. But the overwhelming sentiment is that Jerry Judy's time in Cleveland is over. Fans see the writing on the wall. They see the mock drafts. They hear the silence from Todd Monken, and they know what's coming. Jerry Judy is getting replaced. It's just a matter of when and how. And Jerry Judy knows it too. He hasn't said anything publicly, but you have to imagine he's watching all of this unfold and realizing his NFL career is at a crossroads. He's 29 years old. He's coming off the worst season of his career. His new head coach won't commit to him. Trade rumors are swirling, and mock drafts are projecting his replacement.
If Judy doesn't have a monster offseason, if he doesn't prove to Todd Monken in training camp that he deserves to start, his time in Cleveland is over. And at 29, finding another starting job in the NFL won't be easy. This is it. This is Jerry Judy's last chance to save his career, and Todd Monken's silence suggests it might already be too late. This story is based on reports from ESPN, Yahoo Sports, FanSided, NFL Spin Zone, A to Z Sports, and various outlets covering Jerry Judy trade rumors and Todd Monken's silence on the Browns' wide receiver situation.